Hey fellow gamers again, welcome to part 4, and which is probably going to be my final part of my original gaming memories and NES, fond NES memories. So um, here goes. As time went on, I remember my NES started not working very well, and we were having a lot of trouble. Some games would work and some just would not, no matter what we did. And it was probably just the connector getting worn out, but we tried everything. We didn't really know how to clean them. But I remember one night my dad went and rented me a game, and he rented Mega Man 3, and I remember loving the game from back when I played it at my cousin's house, before I had a Nintendo, and it wouldn't work. And my dad's like, all right, we'll go back and try to exchange it for one other one, but I'm not going to keep taking you if it won't work. We're just going to have to not do it. And then we rented Battletoads, and I played that, and I really loved that game. That's still one of my favorite NES games too. Though it really didn't become a favorite game until a little later because I started playing it a lot at a friend's house with him, and a lot with one of my other best friends. We played that pretty constantly. We played a lot of games with, such as Battletoads and Marble Madness were probably some of our favorites with my friend Jerry. But never could get very far in Battletoads, but I loved it. I died at the third level over and over, but I would never get bored of it. And I played that all night. Loved it. But as time went on, I started getting in a lot more trouble with video games because I would just play too much. It would consume too much of my time. So that around then is when I finally took my allowance. My mom didn't even want me buying more video games, but I ended up that's when I finally got my copy of Mario 3. I kind of bought it behind her back. I used my own money, but she didn't really want me buying them because they didn't really want me playing much anymore. And then the Nintendo wasn't working very well, so I do remember getting that cleaned. And the guy said he cleaned it. He took it. He said it needed a good cleaning. And even then, it really didn't fix it. But as time went on, I met another friend named Derek, and we kept. He had a Nintendo, and his mom never had much money, and so we were just scrounging for whatever kind of games we could get our hands on. We didn't care what game it was. If it was a game and we didn't have it, or somebody would sell it to us for a couple of measly dollars, or for allowance change, we'd buy it. And he didn't have any money. I had I think I either had an allowance or that's all I really had at the time. And we ended up with games like Narc, which was terrible, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is a pretty terrible game. We ended up with Bubble Bobble he borrowed, and we played that a lot. We liked that. That was pretty fun. But the one game he got, the one diamond in the rough that I remember loving and just playing constantly, he ended up trading it or selling it to me, and I played it non-stop, was Rolling Thunder. And that again is one of my other all-time favorite NES games. That would be probably in my top 20, possibly top 10. That is one of my favorite games. I love the game. It's one of Tengen's best games ever, I believe, along with Tetris and some of a couple of their other real strong titles. That game I played so much of, and I loved every minute of that game. Eventually I ended up buying a copy of Tetris. My dad had torn off a whole bunch of aluminum siding at a job he was working on a house he was rebuilding, and he had like 2 or 3 garbage cans packed to the brim, and plus like a truckload of aluminum siding. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to let you have all the money. You can bring it in, and you could have it, but you have to buy something that I would like with it, that I could enjoy. And that was the only thing. It could be for me, but it had to be something that he would enjoy doing too. So my mom, I remember being at Toys R Us or KB Toys or whatever it was, and I was looking at Nintendo games, of course. And I ended up buying Tetris. I was deciding, I got $97, I remember, for all the aluminum. And that, when I, 94 or 93, whatever, that was a massive amount of money for a free kid who's like 12 or 10, 11 or whatever I was at the time. That was massive. But I got $97, and I remember wanting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: The Manhattan Project. My mom's like, you can buy both of them if you want. That's fine. It's your money. You can buy them both. And I wanted Tetris really bad because we played that so much. And um, I remember deciding that I didn't want to spend all my money. I don't know what stopped me, but I ended up buying Tetris, and I had it, and it was. I loved Tetris as a kid. I didn't like it at first until I got good at it. Then I could play it nonstop. Today I am amazing at it. I can clear 19B mode in Tetris easily. I mean, not easily, but I've done it, and I've gotten like 200 plus lines several times. I love that game. It's not my favorite version of Tetris anymore. I like the Tetris 2 plus Bomb Bliss on the Famicom. That is probably my favorite version of Tetris now. But Tetris, I remember bringing Tetris home, and my dad's like, "You got me Tetris," and he was all excited and getting all goofy about it. And he loved it. He's like, "No, you got me something I really like. Thank you." And I don't remember what I ever ended up doing with the rest of that money, to tell you the truth. But I passed on Ninja Turtles, and I got Tetris. And I remember renting Ninja Turtles 3 multiple times, playing it with my friend Dave when he stayed over. We played that, and I think we rented that in Battletoads one time. And I think we rented, it was my birthday or something like that, we rented Battletoads, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, and Donkey Kong Classics. And man, we had a blast with all 3 of those. Because that was back at the time when I was grounded from Nintendo other than on Fridays. And I would play all day. I would play Nintendo till I could not see straight anymore, until 5 in the morning. It was joyous, and I remember so much appreciating that. So, I mean, we had so much fun with those games, and I never really ended up owning any of those 3 games until later. But man, they were some of my fondest memories, and I remember renting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 later on with the guy Greg, who my mom used to babysit, and we used the Game Genie when he got one. We beat it. And, I used the Game Genie at first to beat a lot of games. Darkwing Duck, Mario 2, and the Game Genie was a blast back then. And he had a few other games. He had Quattro Adventure, and I played that a lot too. I kind of liked it, although I sucked at it. It's a brutal game. But that ended up being, those are some of the best memories. That's kind of my childhood. Up until about 94. I mean, the Nintendo was just pure heaven, and even then, it never ever stopped being fun. And I always scrounged for games. I had some of the best times and the best memories, and I think the fact that I wasn't allowed to buy a lot of games, and that I got it all so late, is what made me a collector. I think that the fact that I just never knew what was out there, and when I did find out a little bit about something, it was glorious. So now I think that's why, it's because my parents restricted it a lot on me, which was a good thing back then, because otherwise I would have just never done another thing. But I am a collector now, I think, because of that. And I know they always kind of laugh at me how much I have, and they kind of snicker at it, but I think that is the reason why I am a video game collector today. It's because I didn't have very much of it back then. All the memories I had, and just scrounging and trying a game even for a few minutes as a kid, and just seeing new stuff. and that is where I'm at today. But in order to conclude this video, what happened in 1994, I remember. And I don't even remember really what time. I would have probably been in 7th grade at the time. I just remember the Nintendo was not working very well, and I was just getting in too much trouble for playing it a lot, so my parents banned it. And I don't remember what I did. I think I ended up trading or selling. The reason I ended up giving my friend that Aladdin deck enhancer is because video games had been banned in my house, and he was one of my really good friends. So I just said, "You can have it, take it, go ahead. You're liking it." I just gave it to him, and he said he thinks one of his sister's boyfriends or something had stolen it from him, because I remember a few years later asking him back for it, and he didn't have it anymore, and he was really kind of upset that it was missing too, because we had a lot of fun with that Aladdin deck enhancer in the Pac-Man Dizzy game. But I think I remember trading a bunch of the other games to my friend Dave and just giving them to him or selling some of them to him, and I ended up not getting a lot for them, but I got some money. And I mean, that's what happened, and it was banned, and I wasn't allowed to have video games. I could still go to the arcades, and I could still go and play some stuff with friends' houses, but I was just not allowed to have it at home because it just took up too much time. So, you know, that's what happened with that. So I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. This is the end of my NES stories, and it doesn't end there though. It picks back up with a Sega Genesis later on, a year later, and it picks up with another Nintendo, and it picks up with a Super Nintendo, as well as maybe a Game Gear and a computer. We finally got a computer later on. Talking to a family who didn't get a CD player until 1994. So that will be another series of blogs for later on. So until then, stay tuned. Post some videos if you want to talk about some fond memories or some gaming lore. I'd love to hear them. So we will see you later.